if I can get any closer. It's a little steep here, but maybe I can risk it. So it looks a little muddy though. Then again, I don't really have to. I'm just gonna have a seat here and I'm gonna talk to you guys. I mean, we've all been there. You know, you're working on a problem, and no matter how hard you think about it and how you, what do you call it? You're brainstorming, and your brain just goes around in circles. You're stuck. You don't see the solution. Whether it's a project that you're working on that is physical, like building something, or a repair, like I can relate to that very well, but you may have a creative problem that is more along the lines of perhaps writing an essay, or you are trying to solve a relationship problem. Whatever it may be, I think we can all relate that sometimes you just get stuck, and no matter what you try, your brain can't figure it out. But let's say then you just decide to sleep over it. Not even seriously thinking that that is going to be the solution, but perhaps tomorrow with a fresh cup of coffee and a different approach, maybe all the solutions are going to come. But then, now comes the interesting part. 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours later, you wake up and suddenly it is crystal clear on your mind. You just know. You just know what the solution is, and you can see it as real as it's already happened. Then you can just go out, do what you have to do, and move on from there. And usually you're really successful. Have you ever experienced this? Do you think there's an explanation for that? And whatever your experience has been, I would like you to share it in the comments section. So this very thing has happened to me more often than once, more often than twice. It has happened to me so often that I am convinced that dismissing it as an illusion or perhaps a coincidence would be almost ignorant. Let me give you an example from last year that just comes to mind right now as I'm sitting here. As a professional handyman, I sometimes get the weirdest calls. So last year in the summer, there was a church that called me, and they asked about a door that had melamine on it that was only about, was it 3 feet tall? Yeah, it was just for them to get behind the counter, but the melamine had started coming off. Anyways, they called me. Then they sent me pictures of the door, and I saw what a mess this was. When you glue melamine onto something, usually it glues very, very well, except if you get some air bubbles in it, then it could detach from there. And then the task to restore that would be almost, you know, the biggest job would be actually to get the rest of the melamine off and then sand it, scrape it to the point where you can actually apply a new surface. And even then, you know, if you do this manually, I mean, it's quite challenging to get this just perfectly smooth. And that's what they wanted me to do. At first, I was like, nah, I don't think I have any good solution for that, because how am I going to get this off clean and then restore this and do all this for a price that would be reasonable to them? I could do almost anything, but the time that it takes me, I have to charge for that. So my initial reaction was like, there's no way, you know, and I cannot take this job. But I went to sleep over it. And then all of a sudden, I had an idea. Came to me early in the morning after just getting up. It was crystal clear on my mind, just like I described it. I was working on my truck at the same time, see? Doing body work. So I had some body filler at the house. Specifically, there's a body filler that has short fiberglass strands inside of it. It has very good adhesion. It is very easy to sand. And it's easy to make a surface out of that is super smooth. Once you got that layer done, then you can apply a regular body filler and get it even smoother. You can get it almost perfect. So then the next step was do some research. What kind of paint do they have these days, say at Home Depot, at the paint store, whatever it may be, that mimics melamine? And I can match any color I want. The paint store, give them 10 minutes and they got the perfect color, and you can pick your texture. And so, yeah, just filling in the voids, sanding it super smooth, then applying a primer, and eventually this melamine paint should do the trick. So the next step was call the guy from the church, and I explained it to him, and he was kind of skeptical at first. He wanted to know how long this would take me, and finally he said, well, let me run this by my boss and I'll get back to you. And they agreed to the thing, and I went through with it. I did it step by step, just the way I had dreamt it. And by the end of it, you couldn't even hardly tell the difference. So then when I went there and installed the door, they were happy. There was no complaint about it ever again after that. So this solution, guys, it came to me in a dream. And it's not the only thing. So let me show you something that I built 2-3 years ago. I'm not even sure. See, it's a weird piece of plywood. It looks like, I don't know. What do you think it looks like? Some piece of furniture with maybe a tabletop, something like that. Well, close, but it is for a specific purpose, and all of these holes are there for a reason. The idea for building this thing, well, it came to me in stages, but the solutions on how to make this fit and how to make this work, they came to me at night while I was sleeping through a dream. Want to know what it's for? A few years ago, I had just bought an inexpensive inflatable boat. It was a blast to paddle on the river and, of course, in the lakes around our town. What I had really dreamt of, though, was a pack raft that was strong enough to accommodate the bike while floating on the river, and, when deflated, small enough to haul on my bike. Rafts like that aren't cheap, but maybe I could find a way to use my inexpensive boat to do everything. The solution you see here came to me in a dream. There were numerous problems to solve before it could work perfectly, but they were easily addressed by literally sleeping over them. What do you think? Now the question arises is this just a random fluke thing? And is it pure coincidence that this just pops up overnight in your dreams? Like, many of us don't even realize that they're dreaming, and many of us perhaps don't even dream at night. Do you dream at night? Do you have a conscious memory of your dream the next morning? I have to be honest with you. I don't always. But while I can't say that this thing with this door thing there was a real conscious effort to solve this problem, it was more on the back burner. And then suddenly it came to me overnight. Long before that, I was asking myself the question, can I do this on purpose? I can tell you from experience that it works. You could do that. It takes perhaps some practice to get really good at it and to be on point when you really need it. And there might be some experiences where you try it and you just can't get the right mindset and it just doesn't work. When you're trying to do that, one tip that I have is don't set your alarm clock. Let yourself wake up naturally, and then the chances of you waking up in the middle of a dream or like semi-waking up, and then realizing that, hey, this is it, are much better than if you get torn out of it like that, then you're not ready for it. But what is it? What is this phenomenon that makes us perhaps dream solutions for us? And I have a theory about that, and you can call me nuts, or maybe you can share your own theory in the comments. So what do you think is really at work here? Is it our brain just remembering things and putting them together in a certain way that'll help us solve a problem when we need it? Is it because we're asleep that the brain is 100% focused on what it is that we need? And is it like they call it the subconscious that is already within us that is helping us? Well, it's a possibility, right? But what if it's a lot more? Do you really understand what's going on inside the brain and what it actually looks like? From what I understand, even scientists have a hard time really figuring it out. I mean, we're not even there yet. So, is it possible that there's so much more to this? We are a physical being, or are we? Well, have you heard the saying that we're spiritual beings in the physical world? It's this body that makes us function. But what I'm trying to say is that your brain is an interface between the universe and your body. The world out there is much bigger than what's within us. So I really believe, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have any proof, that during the night when we sleep, we have access to anything in the universe. And that's not limited to time, that's not limited to location. So we may be receiving information from somewhere that is like light years away from the Earth, or that happened or will happen, and that's the weirdest part, thousands or even millions of years from now. So that's what I believe. We are receptive to information that exists somewhere in the universe. And during the night when we sleep, we are basically asking the universe for help. And since we're focused on our problem and we have eliminated all the clutter, now the universe is there for us. We're part of the universe. We quite possibly are the universe itself. So we are no different one from the other, and it's all there, except in the physical world, all that changes. We are limited to our bodies. So then once you wake up, you're back in the physical world. You're limited to this, whatever's in your brain. But there's a moment of opportunity there, a window of opportunity where you could remember what was in that dream and you can use it when you need it. Careful though, because it is easy to move on with your daily routine. And even if you try to think back 10 minutes later or something like that, you're like, poof, gone. Now, the big question is, how can you try this for yourself? And what does it take? What do you have to do in order to put all the cards on your side so that your chances of succeeding are best? Well, I got a few tips for you. Number one, when you go to bed, identify your problem. Think about it and put it into a simple question. And ask the question just once, but be very clear on what it is you need to solve. Then you let it go. Don't obsess over it because you really, really need that sleep. You don't want to be tossing and turning and just, go nuts about it. Not going to work. Another important recommendation that I have is avoid screen time before you go to bed. The reason for that is like there's a lot of noise. You know, you get distractions, you get all kinds of other things that are creeping into your mind. You want your mind to be clear, and you want it to be focused on your problem, the problem that you're trying to solve. So distractions, while they sometimes can help you get over stuff, in this case, no screen time. Put your phone away, like say an hour or so before. That's it. Then you go to bed and you sleep. Another thing I highly recommend, and that could be crucial, have something by your bedside that allows you to record what you're seeing or what you're thinking or experiencing right after you wake up. A notebook, perhaps a voice recorder. Whatever it is, just be sure you have something there to capture the moment that you wake up. What is on your mind? You know how dreams are sometimes. You wake up and you're just so immersed in it and it just seems so real in the moment. But then we have stuff to do that is going to be on our mind that will occupy us other than what we just dreamt of. So to record this in the moment, that's really crucial. And you'll be surprised. You may have a solution right in front of you, or you may have perhaps something else that is not, like, you can't quite grasp it yet. It is not what you were hoping for. But when you think about it for a while, all of a sudden it'll guide you into a direction that is perhaps unexpected, but it'll help you out. That'll just help you solve your problem. Does that make sense? So guys, what do you think about this? Is this just some kind of voodoo shit? Or is there something to it? Am I imagining things? My question to you is, if you never tried this before, do you have an open mind, or are you willing to give it a shot? I mean, this doesn't require any special skills, you know, and the steps that I gave you, they are relatively simple to follow. And if it fails, then perhaps you could try it several times, because I'm telling you, it doesn't always work perfectly. It depends on a lot of different factors that I can't really identify here, but I am 100% convinced, and I can promise you that if you give this an honest and intentional try, that you'll probably be amazed. On the other hand, you may already practice this, or you may have done this on occasion, or it may have surprised you and your problems got solved overnight while you slept over it. If that's the case, I'd like to hear from you too. You know, share your experience. There's a secret there that perhaps many of us don't know, and I'm trying to share it with all of you so that perhaps it can help somebody. And I thank you for listening, and I encourage you to give my video the thumbs up and perhaps subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. Thank you.